it's OSU Harding 1 and welcome to a LEGO Technic review. And today we're going to look at a custom made model. This model was designed by Paul Baratko over at crowkillers.com. Check out his website. You'll find many more models that he has designed, and instructions are available for purchase there. But this particular model is called the 2014 Muscle Car, and it's based off of 1960 style American muscle cars. And this model has 1,888 pieces, and it uses a good mix of new pieces from 2014 and some common pieces and a lot of pieces that are hard to find nowadays, and particularly in certain colors. One of the first things I want to do is tell you about some of the features of this set. So some of the basic features: this thing has a, obviously from what you can see up there on the hood, it's got a blown V8 engine. It's got a live rear axle, and I'll show you what that means. It's got a 4-speed transmission with the shifter up between the seats and the cab. And it's got in-car steering, so meaning all steering is done via the steering wheel. There's no hand of God steering. And just independent suspension up front. So first thing I want to do is just try to give you a size perspective. So here's a typical minifigure up next to the car. I just want to tell you that from the wheelbase of the car, from center line to center line of the front wheels is about 1 foot or 30 centimeters. So it is a very, very large model. And lastly, just to give you a little bit more size perspective, here is the Hulk minifigure, just to give you an idea of the size. In a model this size, there are certain things you would come to expect as far as features, so we'll take a look at some of those. Obviously, you've got doors that open on both sides. Again, one of the really neat features about this model is the way that he designed the hood and the way the hood flips up. So this is just a flip forward, just a really neat mechanism. Okay, obviously the engine in there that reciprocates as you, depending on what gear you have it in up there, the pistons reciprocate as you roll it. And lastly, here in the rear, you've got an opening trunk. You've got suspension in the rear, the live axle suspension on the rear, and independent suspension up front. I just want to give you a quick overview look from the top. We'll go down the length of it here. You can see the gear shifter in there between the seats. I just want to give you a good look from underneath so you can see the gears, the gearing, and how the transmission and everything is assembled. Again, just a 4-speed linear transmission, no reverse. Differential in the rear axle. The axle is solid, so it's a solid, not independent suspension, but it's held in place with via the 2 shock absorbers and these 3 linkages. So that's what we mean by live axle. And many of the new 2014 suspension parts up in the front. So just a real quick basic look underneath. So I want to give you a good up-close look at this thing all the way around so we can get a better look at some of the details. The wheels and tires are the same wheels and tires that are on set 8070. Just a really good looking model, good size. I really like the way the tail lights and the way the little spoiler on the rear deck lid look here. These are light pearl gray pieces for the bumpers and the grille. Just a really nice model. You can also, Paul also has the instructions for this model in red. There's just a real good look at it from the front. Let's take a good look at it from the inside. Like I said in the beginning, all the steering, there is no hand of God steering. All the steering is done via the steering wheel inside the cab. And as you can see here, you've got your shifter and your 4-speed shifter. There is no reverse, but the 4 speeds are in what you would call your standard configuration. So there would be first gear, second gear, you slide it over, up, third gear, and all the way back there is fourth gear. And all this does is, as you roll the cart at a constant speed and you shift gears, that changes the gear ratio, which changes how quickly the pistons in the engine reciprocate. So my overall thoughts on this car and this model is fantastic. I spent quite a bit of money searching around on Bricklink to find some of the pieces that are a little bit more rare. It forced me to order some stuff from overseas, which I've never done before, but turned out to be a pretty good experience. And overall, it's just a fantastic model to have to add to my Technic collection. It's a great addition to any supercar collections that you might have, and it's about the same size. It might be a little bit bigger. Technically, I learned a lot from this build. There's a lot of unorthodox ways of building that you wouldn't typically see from a standard issue Lego set. So highly recommend it, guys. If you get an opportunity to buy the instructions or check out crowkillers.com, any of his other models, I would highly recommend it. This is a very satisfying build. I'm very glad to have it as a part of my collection, and I'm very thankful for Paul and his talent and being able to come up with this design and share it with us. So that's it, guys. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, leave me a thumbs down. Leave me a comment down in the comments and let me know what you think about this model. And follow me on Instagram at Lego Small Potato. And thanks for watching this time, guys. Keep checking back for more builds, more reviews.